Welcome to episode 11 of Sports Talk with the Statsman. Hi folks, I'm Paul Bruno and I want to thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel at PB the Statsman. On today's episode, the Blue Jays 2023 Postmortem. I've refrained from talking too much about the 2023 Blue Jays in this forum, and I'll confess to you now that this omission was due to the fact that I did not like the makeup of this group from day one. In fact, I underlined my dissatisfaction with this organization by not attending a single home game for the first time since the 1980s. In my earlier assessment of this team on this platform, I gave the entire pitching staff an A rating. 4 starters who ate up innings and never missed a turn while posting top 10 numbers in the American League were all sensational. I have no gripe with them. They deserved a better outcome than they got, in fact. A deep bullpen was similarly impressive all season long. In fact, the team's whip, that's walks plus hits divided by innings pitched, was the best in the entire major leagues, and the ERA, the earned run average, was 5th overall. That's the good news, and that's the extent of it. The bad news was notable right from opening day. That's when the trouble started, in my opinion. 3 key players showed up out of shape. There's just no excuse for that. But Alek Manoah, the opening day starter, was the most notable because his arm was way ahead of his bloated body, and he flamed out early because he could never get things in order. He made things worse by refusing a demotion to AAA to get that all sorted out, and that looms as a major off-season issue, just like it put a dark cloud over the second half of the entire season for this team. One of the faces of the club, Vladimir Guerrero, completed a season where his offensive totals fell for the second straight year, and he finished with a worse fielding metric among all first basemen in the entire major leagues. This is a guy who actually won a Gold Glove for fielding excellence last season. I would say that his 2023 performance should cost him many $1 million when he eventually graduates from arbitration-controlled years with the Blue Jays. How about Alejandro Kirk at catcher? Let me just say this. Any of his batted ground balls with runners on base were an automatic double play all season long. There's no way to sugarcoat it. He just has no speed at all. His offensive numbers were way down from his career norms. Defensively, his positioning behind the plate also tipped pitches. If he squatted down low on one leg, you knew the pitch was going to be low in the zone. And when the pitch was designed to go up in the zone, he was up on his toes. Opposing teams were all over this in the second half of the season. And in short, I'm more than twice his age, and I'd race him with money on the line any day of the week. 7 of the 9 most used hitters on the offense of the Jays struck out at least 100 times this season. That's alarming, in fact. At the top of this list was Matt Chapman, who fanned 165 times in 581 plate appearances. That's better than one a day in a 162-game schedule. That's, in fact, over 28% of his total batting appearances. His defense was also not as good as usual, and his fielding percentage was actually down 20 points from the high point of 2022. Dalton Varsho was an excellent addition when you look at the fielding metrics that he put up in the outfield, but he more than offset that with an absolutely terrible season at the plate. He struck out 135 times, batting a lousy .220 with an on-base percentage of .280, which are terrible numbers for any outfielder in the major leagues. In fact, these two were so bad offensively that the Jays' brain trust eventually moved them to the 8th and 9th spots in the batting order instead of up where they should have been expected to be in the heart of the order. That prompted the shift of Kevin Kiermaier, a career-long number 9 batter, into the 7th slot in the batting order, a damning combination of Chapman and Varsho's offensive abilities. Next in my sights was Brandon Belt, who whiffed 141 times out of his 404 at-bats. That's translating to almost 35% for a guy who was batting in the heart of the order all season long. Sure, he's a veteran left-handed bat, and he walked a little bit. His on-base percentage was a respectable .369, but that strikeout rate killed a lot of rallies all season long. We started to see also the decline of George Springer, a big contract guy whose offensive numbers dropped below career norms this past season in batting average, on-base percentage, and slugging percentage. He's in his mid-30s now, and that trend will continue while he gets paid the big bucks over the next few years. In the 2 playoff games that we just saw conclude their season, we saw the faces of the team, Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero, make inexcusable base-running errors that snuffed out the club's 2 best rallies in the set. They were both guilty of similar brain farts in the regular season, and they weren't alone. There were a lot of base-running gaffes by the rest of the roster, too. Neither of these players has yet to contribute to a Blue Jays playoff win in a 6-game sample over 3 appearances, and they also embody a lack of drive that translates throughout the whole roster. The manager of this club, John Schneider, has been revealed as a mere puppet of the upper management, with the quick hook of Jose Barrios, who was yanked after only 12 batters in Game 2 of this series, being Exhibit A. Instead, they decided to bring in lefty starter Yusei Kikuchi, who hadn't been used in relief all season long. The Twins capitalized immediately, sending Jays fans into a very entertaining frenzy on social media. The fact remains that all season long, this was as unimaginative an offense as I've ever seen in Toronto, folks. Not much emphasis on advancing runners, hit and run, stealing bases, and bunting. Simple station-to-station baseball was the hallmark. It was boring to watch and easy for opponents to defend. This team has squandered another year of the Guerrero-Bichette controllable contract seasons, and they'll soon be in line for both getting significant raises, whether they deserve them or not. Blue Jays fans have to be frustrated like never before. This year was a missed opportunity. I feel your pain. I'll be very interested to see what changes, if any, occur in the front office, and some definitely should happen, in my opinion, as well as with the roster this offseason. There should be lots of moves for all of us to chew on. Let me know what you think in the comments section of this clip. Please hit the like and subscribe button. It's all free. Thanks for listening. I'll be back in a few days with a look at other top news stories in the sports world on the next episode of Sports Talk with the Statsman.